Just look over the info. How's it feel? Whatever.
All right, guys, we'll reconvene the meeting back at 12 p.m. We have our HR director and Nicole Graff here to give probably a little more information on hazard pay. So I guess you have the floor, Nicole. So.
Okay, thank you. So it kind of ties into two different conversations. One is about our preparedness to have like a plan B and a plan C operation for EOC in place in case people get sick, or there's something that happens to any of the leaders that are at incident command. And so I've been working with Ed Snetzinger on putting together a plan for EOC. And so this is just a rough draft, but it kind of lists the positions that they're utilizing right now. And then Ed created a 3-tier process. Like if this person or this list of people are infected or get sick, then the second tier is able to take over in their position. If that same thing happens to them, then the third tier is able to take over. So he kind of started creating that process, and I just kind of put it into words a little bit on the handout that I put there. And so it talks about all the things that would need to happen in order for this to take place. But the big picture would be that you have options for people that are working at the EOC now, to have them classified as a person like a reserve EOC member, right? And so they would be given the option, like we talked about at the last meeting, to have the opportunity to step up to that position and say, in crisis, not just during this pandemic, but for future crises, whether it's storm related or anything that's pandemic-wise, something that we would declare a state of emergency in, that we already have people who are trained and in place and ready to reman all of those EOC positions. And so this identifies what the positions are specifically, and then the next step in the process would be having conversations with those people to make sure that they're willing to do that job. And then I and Ed and probably Liz would need to start looking and classifying them as essential staff. And so that's the second page, is policy 508, essential service levels, that was previously approved. And that's when we started determining the 3 different levels of essential services that all of our employees provide. We would specifically be revisiting that to look at the EOC and determine which areas they fall into, whether they're essential level 1, 2, or 3. Obviously, 1 being the employees that we have that are hands-on with our community members and probably at a higher risk of contracting COVID at the time. And that kind of segues into the hazard pay portion of the policy, which is on the very back. And so based on those essential service levels, I created a chart to show how we could apply, if that's what the council wishes, hazard pay to persons in those essential service levels, as it concerns our EOC employees and the reserve employees that we're tasking to kind of take on all of those crises now and in the future. And what's that?
How many is there?
How many altogether?
Yeah.
I believe the way that this is built into the tier system, every single one of these positions is filled. So let's just say 20, and I kind of looked at it as in the tiered system, so you'd say 20, 40, 60. And they're not all employees. Some of them are contracts, and some of them are for outside agencies, like we have American Red Cross in there, we have Monoman Public Health, and so on. So we have 3 tiers and a way to adapt hazard pay to that specifically. It's just an option. That's why I have it as a draft. And, obviously the thing that we'd be tasked with was, or is, how is that pay sustainable? CARES Act is pretty specific that hazard pay isn't able to be used there, except for in specific areas like public safety, health, and our emergency operations. So we would probably have to get verification that it would be used until December 30th or when that date ends. And then from that point on, you know, if we're just considering obviously that COVID-19 isn't ending when the funding ends, how do we sustain that type of pay?
Exactly, and that's how we were talking about. When you turn on the emergency operations reserve, it's a certain funding line item code that gets applied. So certain incidents may not qualify for COVID. You'll have a different funding line item that'll pay for that incident.
Yeah.
And so that's what Nicole was talking about.
Yeah, and that would be the next piece that we worked on. I put my stakeholders right in my planning. And so it'd be a collaboration. It'd be identifying what those funding streams are and availability. Then on the HR side, we'd have to build it into each of the employees' personnel information to show that this is their status. They're essential 1, 2, or 3, and they are EOC reserve, if that's what we're going to label it moving forward. That way, that information feeds directly to payroll. They'll help us work on the plan for approving and processing that pay. It's not an hourly wage. It's more like every 2 weeks, there will be $200 of that hazard pay that just goes directly onto their paycheck. So it works a little different. More like a bonus, I would say, but I don't want to put that terminology.
It's an incentive.
Incentive, yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Well, the other thing that I was telling Nicole, Mr. Chair, is that these folks that have been essential employees that have been working at the EOC, they have experience now, and that's valuable. And we want to try to maintain that level of readiness and experience. We want to keep these people engaged, because since I've been here, we've had, 2, 3 incidents a year that we've had to do EOC. And so by having these people maintaining their reserve status, their emergency operations status, you're always going to have people ready that are trained. You're going to have your primary people, and then they'll have his alternate, like he was talking. One goes down, somebody else steps up, you know. And so the system would maintain itself. And basically, you know, I was just at the food shelf yesterday, and since the first time I came there, they've gotten better. They know how to do food operations, and they know how to do it pretty good. The reporting for the pandemic is better than the first day that they started. They're really good at it now, you know. And so, you know, just and the other thing that I wanted to also clarify with Nicola, Mr. Chair, was that these employees that are out there, basically they're making a sacrifice in their civilian career, right? Because we're asking them to set aside their civilian career on the government side here, take time away from their career to go do emergency operations for the benefit of the people of White Earth. And that we're going to take care of them. They're going to be provided an incentive for doing that sort of volunteer work, because it has to be a volunteer-based thing. They're going to be, we're going to take care of them, but, you know, we've got these layoffs coming, but, you know, if they're going to be in reserve status, sacrificing their own careers, that we're going to take care of those people when this stuff ends. That they'll have a place to come back to. They'll have a job to come back to. So we're not just putting them out there on their own. You know, we just rip them out of their job and say, go do this, and then they don't have a job to come back to. You know, that's not good. You know, we want to take care of those people and their families. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'm not going to say concerns, but I guess some of the questions I have for this is, you know, as council, you know, if we're going to do it specifically for the EOC, you know, is, you know, I know that our whole workforce that we have working today is like, you know, like anywhere from maintenance to any other job, is that they're going to probably want to expect the same thing, but we kind of did the outline that we really can't do that. But then, well, the concerns that I have, I guess, now it's a concern is like, you know, how many enrolled members we have up at the EOC, how many, you know, because we're all going to get, you know, we're all going to get backlash from this if we do something like this. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's good. I mean, what you said is great, but I'm just saying that the amount of the non-membership that we have up at our EOC, and we're going to give them this type of incentive, I guess, and everybody else is going to want some type of incentive too with the rest of the CARES Act that we do have left over. So I know that there's going to be some type of what I'm saying is like, we're gonna hear from it, that's what I'm saying, we're gonna probably get a lot of people by, asking questions, and it's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be personnel, and they're gonna ask how many people do we have out there that are enrolled, and how many are not enrolled, how many, look at their wages, how they're getting right now, and they're doing this, or they're doing this job, and, they get paid for this job, but they're doing this job, and now you're gonna give more money on top of that, so it's gonna be kind of a, you guys are where I'm going to go with this, and that's just the thing that I know, because every time we just talked about what the districts is, if we don't do it for one, then we don't do it for the rest of them. And it's probably for the same as our workforce, if we don't do it for these guys, and we leave these guys out, then we're gonna get ourselves in probably a.
Well, could you create a fourth category, that there's just a general essential employee? If you've been deemed essential, you're gonna be entitled to an incentive as well, and come back to us with what we would project for the remainder between now and end of December.
Yeah.
The one that's generally applied,
And we already have that list, that was done before, the big shutdown. So, all those essential services were already identified with the persons in place by all of the division directors. So we already have all that on our team site. So, we can bring that back. Applicability, obviously is the biggest thing, where the CARES Act dollars can apply. But I totally agree, this is a first draft, so, we can change it as we need.
And this is what we talked about. We talked about, our EOC and the moving parts of it and the dynamics of it that is going to move, and, we have to be prepared better next time. So it's a good job, but I'm just saying that because we're all learning from this too, so we're all trying to get, how can we get things set in place that's going to be best practices for all our band members, so, and our workforce,
So there's plenty of other positions out there, like you said, like maintenance and, got water and sewer, and those guys, that's hazardous, trying to clean up after sick people and whatever's going on, and we have our staff at the casino working there, and, they're endangering their lives also, so.
but it's a good idea, it's a good start.
Right.
Thanks, Nicole. You gonna come back down again?
I think so.
Yeah.
Kathy requested you to come down, we gotta talk.
We're gonna, I think, what do we have, just signatory
Yeah,
requests?
signature request, you could probably hang around as well.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're gonna go into the signature request part of this, and the first one I have is Jessica Johnson for child care program.
We do have, sorry,
Oh, do we?
this was in the packet, for Rice Camp, there's a request.
Oh.
Under Monica. I thought Monica was gonna bring it up when she was on the phone, but. Yep, right in your hand, Michael, that first one on your packet.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
So they're looking for 2 deer for their, there's a rice camp at Elbow Lake, the campground. They're saying approximately 75 attendees over 2 days. So they're requesting 2 deer to be harvested by conservation.
Have they been in contact with the EOC on the protocol and stuff for this?
That I don't know. I can have them go back and do that and bring it back next week.
Yeah, when is Rice
Okay.
Camp anyways?
Well, it says it looks like
September, okay, we got time.
they need ahead of time by August 30th, so we have some
Well, I'll make a
time.
motion to approve the 2 deer as long as they,
If by the
Have the
DOT
safety
program.
guidelines.
Okay. Motion by Umsey, second by Kathy, all in favor for the harvesting of 2 deer for the Rice Camp pending EOC approval.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We're good. All right, next up I have is, we'll start off the signature request. I have Jessica Johnson Child Care. This is the release of old funds being held, endorsed letter 2018 funds be previously requested by Barb Favor, Child Care Director. Monies was not being used to tier the previous construction application, so it's just a letter I have to sign. So, from FY18. $200,000. Who's Jessica Jackson now? She works with the finances for childcare?
She's the manager of child.
Yeah, so it must be some type of something they have in there.
Could we talk to her? Can you set up a meeting with her? What's going on with this?
Why,
I didn't see what it is.
you can have to, we'll table that one. All right, next one I have is Dennis Jackson, White Housing Authority. This one is a granted document comply with, White Housing, AP with an HPA. Let's see, a grant for HUD for IHBG CARES. It's for $1 million. It's, HUD form, environmental review for activity project exempt. It must be applying for the CARES one.
Oh, yeah. Request to apply for it, or?
Yeah, when that comes to us, I'll have their authority to do it.
New document, a grant.
And there's no resolution with it, so.
No match required. And the housing block grant CARES. Requirement protecting niche environmental requirements. Just want to attach HUD form for environmental review for activity projects that is exempt for category food and nuts, subject to section 58.5 and HUD form request for release of funds and certification. In order to send these to HUD, we are required to have them completed and on file in case HUD comes for a monitoring review of the CARES Act funding.
I had to get more information on that.
Very vague. Bring them for questions.
Comply with NEPA and National Housing. Motion. Huh?
What is it?
Just so they can have the documentation on file for them.
I don't know what that means.
That's the Environmental Pollution, Environmental Protection Agency or whatever that's in NEPA.
Is it due this week, you know, or
Who submitted that?
Dennis did.
we'll probably have to get them on the phone or something. Can we hold it off and put it on the phone? Get 'em on?
$1 million.
I'll just go through this next
I
one.
think that's $1 million that you already got, but they just need to have some kind of documentation on file for the environmental.
Certifying project we're certifying that his project meets environmental requirements. However, she does not know what considerations we made to determine that we don't have to meet to do the environmental impact statement. I would just, can we bring Veronica and him in and just ask him,
Yeah, give it to Liz and we'll revisit that one, so.
Yeah.
Alright.
If she doesn't know what the
Writing right on
EIS
these?
is, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So we want Dennis and Ronnie
Okay.
come in.
All right, next up is Jolene, just for, I think she just needs signature request for the storage containers for Welsa.
Oh, yeah.
That's a motion for me to sign these. Motion by Alan, second by Umsey, all in favor?
Well,
Motion carries, awesome. Next one is for Veronica Newcomer Legal. This one is for business license, White Earth, business license renewals. Applicant is Jordan Thompson, RT Roofing. Motion by Alan,
Second.
second by Umsey, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
well,
The next one is legal, another, LLC. This is, Handyman Mike Lee Bauer. To grant them, LLC. Motion by Umsey, second.
Second.
Second by Kathy, all in favor? Motion carries. Next one is Tanya Bold, Dove, new document, grant resolution contract, amount of $56,000. Grant, we're accepting, spending, funding MDH, dates covered 7/1/20 to the 9/30/22. The DUP program has been awarded a grant by the Minnesota Department of Health for an amount of $56,000. Yeah.
Accepted?
Motion by Allen, second.
Yep.
Second by Umsey, all in favor? Motion carries. Motion carries. The next one is Kat Thompson, EMP Manager for Elderly Nutrition Program. This is a new document. This one is application to be received into the Medicare Improvement for Patients and Providers from the Administration of Community Living Office of Grants Management. Funds are to be used to outreach purposes to educate and assist elders with Medicare programs, funding the amount and minimum of $1,000. So they must be applying for a grant. Yeah, $1,000. Part of the program.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
So I just sign it, well,
Is this for $1,000 for educate the?
$1,000 to assist elders with Medicare. Yeah.
Motion by Allen, second by Umsey, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Ray. Next one is Danny Stevens, Behavioral Health Resolution, monetary, no, legal counsel. This one is for question Chairman Fairbanks, Secretary Roy, for consideration for Health Information Management Department. Realign creates a formal health information management structure. There's no money involved with it. Just, I think it's just moving something, changing there. Do you know what this is about? Just something to do with probably their software or their,
Is that from who?
from Danny?
Yeah, this is a software upgrade.
Yeah, so I thought it
Yeah.
was just the health management,
Yeah.
motion.
Motion by Umsey,
The
second,
billing,
second by Kathy, all in favor?
that's the one.
Motion carries.
Just hold it off.
Information.
You get that, Maria? I know we're kind of bouncing around here, so. We got one left, so. Are we good on that one? For Danny Stevens?
Yeah, that's the one you just approved.
Okay.
That's just an upgrade to their software, their billing software. Yeah.
Okay. Then the last one is Chris Manning Mental Health. This one is for a approval for AMHI grant application. Request approval to submit the AMI grant application for 2021-2022 with a budget of $445,000. The grant covers adult mental health individual services. Motion by Umsey, second.
Yeah.
Second by Allen, all in favor? Motion carries.
You should have one more for childcare.
Oh, is that the one that we signed already? Oh, the Kim LaRouche one for a childcare license or it's a renewal for Brandy Lafreniere. What district is that, you know?
She should have it right in the packet, it'll state in there.
Off reservation.
Oh, that'd be,
What's going on?
It's Upper Rice Lake Road near Zirko.
Where's she at?
It's a renewal for a childcare license. Kim, her name is Brandy Lafreniere.
Who's that?
You know her? Good?
Hmm.
You know vote? Motion? Motion by Kathy,
That's it.
second by Al, we already said it already. All in favor?
It's a renewal anyway.
Yeah, just a renewal, so. Motion carries, so we good. I think that's it?
that's all it is?
You gotta sign some of these.
Okay, we good.
Mr. Chair, can I bring up one more?
Yes, please.
I just got a call from a lady, she was wondering what's going on at that place at 4 and 113 there. Apparently, they just found a young lady that was, OD'd not too far from there, but she was staying with some guy there at that place there on 4 and 113, that little camp.
Hey, Ray?
And supposedly he's.
Raymond?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
active investigation.
Yeah, we'll do that in executive session. We're streaming.
All right. Sorry, bud.
All right, guys, I want to say be good. Thank you for your patience, and we're gonna go into executive session, and we'll be reaching out to you if we, some of the meetings, upcoming meetings we're gonna have here with these county councils, so I know you'll be getting a call from probably Liz St. Clair, so be good. Igual beben.
We'll call you right back